I never wanted to work nights, but rent waits for no one. The rest stop on Interstate 80 in Nevada was the only job available. Lights flickering, gas pumps silent, diners closed for the night. They said it was simple: watch the lot, check the bathrooms, call for help if anything unusual happened. When I arrived, the parking lot was empty except for a single truck, its engine idling as though the driver were asleep inside. The rest stop itself had a faint hum, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The air smelled of burnt coffee and gasoline, but something darker lingered beneath it. The manager handed me a folded sheet of paper and a set of keys. "The rules are simple," he said. "Follow them, and you'll finish your shift alive. Ignore them, and—" He trailed off, eyes dark. I laughed nervously, thinking it a joke, but his hand trembled as he pressed the paper into mine. The first line on the paper made my stomach tighten. Rule 1. Do not interact with the travelers after midnight. They are not always human. I scoffed, but my hands shook. Midnight was an hour away, and the night stretched long and empty before me. I walked the parking lot with my flashlight, its beams slicing through fog that hadn't been there moments ago. The lone truck remained, engine idling, its interior dark. I shivered. The paper rustled, as if blown by a wind that didn't exist. By 11:58, the highway was silent. No cars passed. No animals stirred. The rest stop's neon sign flickered, and somewhere inside, a bell rang, though the diner doors had been closed for weeks. I checked the rules again. Rule 2. Never answer anyone knocking on the diner door. Midnight came with a distant rumble. Headlights appeared far down the highway, but instead of slowing, they drifted off the road and toward the lot, moving too smoothly, as if floating. My heart raced. Something about them was wrong. I crouched behind a trash bin, watching. A figure stepped out of one of the phantom headlights, moving unnaturally, joints bending at impossible angles. Its face was hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat, but I could feel its gaze burning into me. The paper flared with new ink. Rule 3. If you see a traveler, do not speak. If they speak to you first, do not answer. Do not leave the rest stop under any circumstance. My throat went dry. The figure paused, tilting its head, listening. Somewhere in the shadows, a coin rolled across the asphalt, stopping at my feet. I hadn't touched it. Its surface gleamed black, edges worn. The figure took a slow step closer, and the lights in the rest stop dimmed, leaving me alone with the coin and a presence that shouldn't exist. I backed away from the coin, heart hammering. The figure didn't move. Its presence was heavy, pressing against my chest like the air itself had weight. The paper trembled in my hand, new words scrawling themselves. Rule 4. If it approaches, stay calm. Do not run. I crouched behind the vending machines, flashlight trembling. The figure glided forward, steps soundless, yet each one felt like a thud inside my skull. The night smelled colder now, metallic and sharp, as if the highway itself had exhaled a warning. Every flicker of light revealed more. Another figure emerged near the gas pumps, moving in the same impossible way. I counted 3 now, 4. My stomach churned. This wasn't human, not entirely. The rules weren't suggestions, they were survival instructions. A distant honk startled me. Headlights flared from nowhere. I froze. The sound came again, 3 sharp honks in sequence, like a warning. The coin in my hand vibrated, humming faintly, almost alive. My fingers tightened around it as a sense of dread crawled up my spine. Rule 5. Never step onto the highway at night. Vehicles are not bound by physics here. My gaze shifted. The highway twisted unnaturally, lanes bending into shadows. I could feel the weight of empty eyes watching from the asphalt, waiting for me to make a mistake. I inched toward the diner, hoping for some form of protection. The doors were locked, but the glass rattled. A handprint appeared on the inside, though the diner had been abandoned for years. My breath caught. Whoever, or whatever, was inside didn't belong to this world. From the far lot, the figures glided closer. Their movements were eerily coordinated, a silent procession of impossible shapes. I ducked behind a soda machine, trying to calm my trembling. The coin pulsed in my palm. I didn't know why I still held it, but I couldn't let go. A shadow moved across the wall near the bathrooms. I froze. The rules flared again. Rule 6. If someone or something follows you, do not look back. Do not speak. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of their gaze pressing down. Every instinct screamed to run. The air grew thick, the night pressing closer. Whispers drifted from the shadows, faint at first, then louder. Words I couldn't understand, punctuated by guttural laughter. I forced myself to keep moving, flashlight slicing through the fog, coin pulsing like a heartbeat. I reached the edge of the lot, near the abandoned showers. The figures hadn't stopped. They mirrored my movements, floating just beyond the light. I crouched low, heart thudding, praying the coin's presence would keep me invisible to them, though I had no idea why. The radio on the counter sputtered to life, static filling the air. A distorted voice whispered my name, slow and deliberate. My ears burned. I dropped the coin in panic, but it rolled back to my feet, as if tethered to me. Something didn't want me to leave it behind. From the diner windows, a pale face appeared. Not human, its eyes too black, skin too smooth, moving unnaturally. My pulse raced. The coin vibrated against my shoe, demanding attention. I picked it up reluctantly, feeling its weight deepen, as if it were feeding on my fear. Rule 7. Never trust the reflections. They are not yours. I glanced at the truck windows. Shadows twisted inside, forming shapes that weren't mine. The faint sound of a child laughing echoed from somewhere distant, though no child could be here. The figures started drifting closer, moving faster now. My legs burned, but I forced myself to stay calm. Rule 8. If you drop the coin, retrieve it immediately. The coin's glow seemed to pull me, illuminating a path forward, but toward what? A truck door slammed behind me. I jumped, heart in my throat. No driver appeared. Only shadows stretched unnaturally, merging into the asphalt. The night whispered around me, words curling into my ears. You can't leave. My grip on the coin tightened instinctively. I ducked behind a lamppost. Fog clung to the ground, thick and suffocating. Shapes moved through it, figures with impossibly long limbs, faces obscured, floating just above the asphalt. I could feel their hunger, though I didn't understand what they wanted. Rule 9. Avoid mirrors. If they see your reflection, do not acknowledge it. The bathroom windows flickered, showing my pale face staring back. Something moved behind it, mimicking me perfectly. I turned quickly, breaking eye contact. My stomach knotted with dread. I edged toward the maintenance shed. Lights flickered inside, revealing tools that twisted in impossible shapes, shadows bending around them. The coin hummed again, pulling me toward the shed like a beacon, though I had no idea why it wanted me there. Outside, the shadows advanced, moving as one. The road twisted, impossible angles forming. I realized I couldn't leave the lot, not now. The coin pulsed, heavier in my hand, vibrating with urgency, as if warning me that the night had only begun. The sheet of rules shivered in my pocket. Rule 10. When the travelers call, do not answer. The coin will guide you, if you survive the night. I swallowed hard, realizing that this night, the rest stop was alive, and I was its prey. The static on the radio turned into faint music, an old lullaby warped and off-key. My skin prickled. The rules didn't mention music, yet the coin pulsed harder, almost painfully. I pressed it to my chest, and the lullaby cut off instantly, leaving a silence more terrifying. The fog thickened. From within it, I saw headlights, dim, glowing, but wrong. The beams didn't cut through the fog, they bent, curling back into the darkness. A truck rumbled closer, without sound. My instincts screamed that if I looked directly at it, something final would happen. Rule 11. Do not accept rides, no matter how human they seem. The paper burned against my pocket, as if reminding me. I turned my back, but could feel the vehicle idling, waiting, watching with headlights that felt like eyes pressing into me. I crouched near the shed, pulling the door open. Inside, rows of cleaning supplies and tools sat neatly, though they seemed untouched for years. A single mirror leaned against the wall. My reflection looked wrong, smiling, though my mouth was shut. I ripped my gaze away. The reflection's lips moved anyway, whispering words I couldn't hear. I slammed the shed door shut, but the sound echoed too long, like the walls were stretching the noise. Behind me, the travelers were closer, too close. The coin throbbed in my palm, nearly hot now. For a split second, I swore I heard a voice whispering through it, "Stay on the path." My breath caught. What path? The lot stretched endlessly, every shadow shifting into something predatory. The rules shifted again in my pocket. Rule 12. If you hear your name, it is not yours. Do not respond. My heart dropped. Almost on cue, a voice echoed through the fog, soft and pleading. "Help me, please." It was my mother's voice. I pressed my hands to my ears, crouching low. The voice grew louder, more desperate, until it became a scream. My stomach twisted. I wanted to respond, but the coin burned against my skin, warning me, tethering me to silence. A sudden crash shattered the quiet. The vending machine lights flickered violently. I staggered back. Inside one of the machines, a pale hand pressed against the glass, clawing, scratching until streaks of blood smeared the surface. My pulse pounded in my throat. The figures circled now, surrounding me in the lot. Their shapes flickered, sometimes human, sometimes not. One bent unnaturally backward, bones cracking. My knees weakened, but I clutched the coin tighter, praying it would shield me from their hunger. From the fog, a child's laughter rang out again, closer this time. A small figure darted between the shadows, giggling. My chest seized. Children weren't supposed to be here. The rules screamed in my head. Nothing here is what it seems. The small figure stopped under a flickering light. It turned its head slowly, too slowly. The child's face was hollow, no eyes, no mouth, just a gaping void. My breath hitched, and the coin pulsed so violently it hurt my hand. The radio crackled again, the lullaby returning, but this time layered with static screams. The coin vibrated, louder, almost as if it were resonating with the screams. I pressed it against the ground, and the earth trembled faintly beneath me. I realized then the coin wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just a charm, it was an anchor, holding me in this nightmare, but also keeping me from being swallowed whole. Whatever rules bound this rest stop, the coin was tied to them in ways I couldn't understand. The figures began to chant in unison, low guttural hums that reverberated through the pavement. Their forms wavered, becoming taller, more grotesque. I couldn't stand much longer. My ears rang, my head pounding as the coin blazed in my hand like molten metal. Suddenly, all sound stopped. The fog parted slightly. In the distance, the diner door slowly creaked open. A dim red glow spilled out, flickering unnaturally. My body resisted moving toward it, yet the coin tugged me forward like a magnet. Inside the diner, everything was frozen in time. Chairs overturned, plates covered in thick dust, but a single cup of coffee steamed on the counter. My throat went dry. Someone, or something, had been here waiting. The reflection in the coffee surface wasn't mine. A gaunt face with hollow eyes stared back, lips curling into a grin. My hands trembled. Rule 13. Do not drink or eat anything offered at night. I pushed the cup away, but the smell was intoxicating. The coin pulsed harder, breaking the trance. The cup shattered on its own, spilling thick, dark liquid that hissed as it touched the floor. The lights overhead flickered violently, revealing shadows writhing along the walls, as if they were alive. I stumbled back toward the door, but it slammed shut with a force that rattled my bones. The coin buzzed like a warning in my palm. The rules hadn't ended yet, and deep down, I feared the night was only getting darker. The walls of the diner shuddered, the windows trembling like they might burst. Shapes pressed against the glass from outside, distorted faces stretching impossibly across the surface. The chanting resumed, deeper now, shaking the floor beneath my feet. I backed against the counter, gripping the coin so tightly it cut into my skin. My blood smeared across its surface, but the coin seemed to absorb it, glowing faintly red. For a moment, the chanting outside faltered, as if the coin had silenced them. Then the jukebox in the corner clicked on. No power, yet it whirred to life, playing an old country song, warped and dragging, like the singer's voice had been slowed down. Each word crawled across my skin. The coin vibrated angrily, almost in protest. The song grew louder, the lights dimming in rhythm. Shadows twisted from the jukebox, snaking across the diner floor toward me. My breath hitched. The rules shifted in my pocket. Rule 14. If music plays, do not let it finish. I lunged for the jukebox, slamming my fist against it. Static screeched, but the song kept going. I ripped the plug from the wall, but sparks only fueled the shadowy tendrils which coiled around the stools, dragging them across the floor with grinding shrieks. Desperate, I smashed the jukebox glass with the coin. The song warped into a shrill scream before cutting off. Instantly, the tendrils dissolved, leaving the diner eerily quiet again. My chest heaved, sweat dripping into my eyes. I wasn't safe. Not even close. The windows rattled once more. Dozens of travelers pressed their faces to the glass, unmoving. Their hollow eyes bore into me. My stomach twisted. They weren't just watching, they were waiting for me to fail, to slip up, to break a rule. The counterphone rang. The shrill sound split the silence. My blood ran cold. I didn't move. The rules burned in my mind. Rule 15. Do not answer phone calls. They are not for you. The ringing continued, louder, more demanding, shaking me to my core. I stuffed the coin in my pocket, covering my ears. But the ringing grew sharper, piercing straight into my skull. My teeth ached from the sound. I clenched my jaw, rocking back and forth until finally, mercifully, it stopped. The silence that followed was worse. The travelers outside began tapping the glass, first softly, then harder, their movements syncing with one another. Each tap sent vibrations through the diner. My legs weakened. It felt like they were knocking on the barrier of reality itself, asking to be let in. I spotted a door behind the counter, half hidden. The coin buzzed faintly when I looked at it, urging me closer. My gut twisted, but I obeyed, slipping through. I found myself in a narrow hallway, lined with dusty lockers and peeling wallpaper. The hallway seemed too long, stretching further than the diner should allow. My footsteps echoed unnaturally, repeating even after I stopped. The coin burned in my pocket, tugging me forward as whispers bled from the walls, begging me to turn back. Halfway down, a locker creaked open on its own. Inside was a uniform, clean and pressed, with a name tag, my name. My blood ran cold. I staggered back, heart pounding. The whispers grew louder, repeating my name over and over, voices dripping with hunger. I clutched the coin. Rule 16. Do not claim any name written here. They do not belong to you. My chest tightened as the whispers tried to claw their way into my mind, pushing me to speak, to accept. I forced myself forward, jaw clenched. At the end of the hall, a door waited. The wood pulsed faintly, as if it had a heartbeat. I pressed the coin against it. The whispers shrieked in pain, scattering. Slowly, the door creaked open, revealing darkness thicker than the night outside. I stepped through, finding myself in a forgotten arcade. Machines stood in rows, dust covering everything, but one game flickered faintly, a claw machine. Inside, instead of toys, small pale hands twitched, clawing at the glass. My throat closed. The coin pulsed violently in my pocket, pulling me closer to the claw machine. Against every instinct, I leaned forward. At the bottom of the pile of twitching hands, something glimmered, another coin identical to mine. I reached out, but the glass vibrated with a low hum. My reflection stared back from the surface, only this time, it wasn't delayed. It moved first, grinning wider than possible. The hands inside began clawing upward, scraping violently at the glass. The rules slipped from my pocket on their own, pages fluttering. Rule 17. If you see another coin, do not touch it. It is not yours. My breath caught. My reflection's grin widened, lips moving. Touch it. Trade places. I staggered back, nearly tripping. The claw machine rattled violently, glass cracking as the pale hands punched upward. The coin in my pocket seared hot, protecting me, but I knew I wasn't the only one it had chosen. I staggered back, nearly tripping. The claw machine rattled violently, glass cracking as the pale hands punched upward. The coin in my pocket seared hot, protecting me, but I knew I wasn't the only one it had chosen. I stumbled backward, but the coin in my pocket glowed so fiercely that the hands recoiled, smoking where they touched the ground near me. The reflection in the broken glass lingered, grinning, whispering, "You can't keep it forever." Its voice bled into my skull, threading through my thoughts. My jaw clenched, and I pressed the coin tighter to my palm. It was the only thing keeping me here. The arcade lights flickered, machines whirring to life. Their screens showed distorted roads stretching into nothingness, cars driving endlessly. Each one carried faceless passengers. Some turned their heads toward me, mouths open in silent screams. Rule 18: do not play the games. They are traps, not entertainment. My gaze lingered on one screen showing my truck. My stomach twisted. It was parked outside, but on the screen, something sat in the cab, watching me with black, hollow eyes. I bolted from the arcade, back into the hallway. It twisted now, no longer straight. Angles bent wrong, corners folding in on themselves. The traveler's whispers echoed louder, calling my name, begging me to trade, to give up the coin. The hallway spat me back into the diner, though it looked different now. The counters were slick with something dark, the stools melted into the floor. The travelers pressed against the glass, dozens of them, their faces stretching unnaturally wide. The radio clicked on again, but this time there was no music, only breathing. Heavy, slow, wet. My spine locked. The sound filled the diner, coming from everywhere at once. I held the coin to my chest. The breathing stopped, only for a moment. Rule 19: never stay in one place too long. The rest stop adapts. My chest heaved. The building wasn't just haunted, it was alive, twisting and reshaping itself to trap me. And I had already lingered too long. The front doors slammed open. Cold wind howled in, carrying fog with it. The travelers stepped inside at last. Their hollow eyes burned like coals, their mouths stretching open as one. The sound they made wasn't a scream. It was a hunger. The coin scorched my palm, blinding white light spilling from it. The travelers staggered back, their forms flickering violently. For the first time, I felt power in my hands, fragile but real. The coin wasn't just a tether, it was a weapon. The travelers shrieked, their forms breaking apart like smoke, but others poured in from the fog, endless. My chest tightened. I couldn't fight them all. The coin pulsed a rhythm in my hand, 3 beats, pause, 3 beats, guiding me toward the back door. I ran. The hallway bent and shifted, but the coin's pulse lit a path, faint glowing lines etched into the floor. The travelers gave chase, their bodies scraping the walls, heads twisting, hands clawing. The rules fluttered, pages tearing themselves loose. I burst into a maintenance tunnel I hadn't seen before. Pipes dripped overhead, the air suffocating. At the far end, a faint red glow pulsed, in time with the coin. I was being led deeper, not out. The tunnel walls closed in. Faces bulged from the concrete, mouths opening wide to scream without sound. My skin crawled. I shoved forward, the coin shaking violently now, burning with heat. I realized it wasn't just guiding me, it was testing me. At the end of the tunnel, a massive door loomed. Metal, rusted, with carvings etched deep into its surface. Symbols I didn't recognize, but that filled me with dread. The coin glowed, fitting perfectly into a slot at its center. I hesitated. My instincts screamed not to, but the traveler's screeches filled the tunnel, growing louder, closer. Claws scraped the walls behind me. I shoved the coin into the slot. The door groaned, unlocking with a sound like bones breaking. The room beyond was a cavern. The highway stretched through it, infinite, lanes vanishing into black void. Vehicles drove endlessly, headlights piercing nothing, drivers faceless. I hadn't escaped. I'd found the source. In the center stood a pedestal. On it, another coin waited, identical to mine, glowing faintly. Around it, dozens of travelers knelt in worship, their hollow eyes fixed on the object. The one I carried seared against my palm in violent recognition. The rules burned one last time. Final rule: if you reach the highway's heart, you cannot leave without sacrifice. My breath caught. The travelers turned toward me, their mouths widening into unholy grins. The cavern vibrated with their hunger. The coin in my hand grew heavier, fusing to my skin. My knees weakened as the truth clawed its way into my mind. I wasn't just guarding the rest stop. I had been chosen as its next offering. The cavern shook, the travelers rising as one. Their hollow eyes locked on me, their whispers fusing into a single word. Trade. The second coin on the pedestal pulsed, brighter with every beat of my terrified heart. The rules had warned me. To leave, I'd have to sacrifice. My gaze darted between the coin fused to my hand and the one glowing on the pedestal. The air grew heavier, pressing down like 1,000 unseen hands. The travelers moved closer, their forms flickering, faces stretching in grotesque grins. I stumbled back, clutching the coin burning into my palm. My flesh sizzled where it touched me, yet I couldn't let go. It was part of me now. I realized the sacrifice wasn't the coin, it was me. The rules hadn't chosen me to survive. They had lured me here to replace someone else. My chest tightened as the cavern's truth clawed at me. Every guard before me had left this place only in pieces. The travelers lunged, but the coin's light blasted outward, holding them back. The second coin on the pedestal pulsed faster, demanding. My instincts screamed, if I touched it, I'd take someone else's place. If I refused, I'd be devoured here and now. Shaking, I staggered forward. The second coin glowed blindingly, its hum resonating with mine. For a brief, horrifying moment, I saw flashes, other guards, other knights, their screams echoing across the endless highway. I wasn't the first. I wouldn't be the last. With a final desperate breath, I slammed my coin onto the pedestal. The cavern exploded in light. The travelers shrieked, their forms unraveling, sucked into the void. My ears bled from the sound, my body burning as the coin fused into the stone. When the light dimmed, the cavern was empty. The highway stretched endlessly before me, cars still driving, faceless passengers staring blankly ahead. My palm was bare, the coin gone, but the weight of it pulsed deep inside my chest. I stumbled back into the diner. Everything was silent again, the travelers gone, the fog lifted. Dawn painted the horizon outside. For a moment, I thought I had survived. But when I caught my reflection in the diner glass, I froze. My reflection didn't move with me. It grinned, holding the coin I no longer had. And in that grin, I understood I hadn't escaped. I had only taken my place in the endless rotation of sacrifices, guarding the rest stop until the next unlucky soul arrived.